Hello, everybody. So I guess today is a good day to get started on telling you my very, very long and complicated, depressing story. Um, so this is not very happy. It's not great. So trigger warning right now. If you can't, if something like this bothers you, I don't really want you to be around. I know I like to stay away from those things, so yeah. But this is also just to let you know that there's someone there that understands, and we can talk about a lot of things. So before we get started, I just want to clear the air because I rewatched my last video that I made about my friend that needs help, and I made it sound like she was like on the run and hiding from police. She's not. That's not what I meant to say. So what happened is that she got in trouble because she was defending a little girl from a dangerous person on drugs, and she was using a broken bottle to keep her safe. Um, I'm not there with her. I'm not there with her every day, and I know she, when you're out there and you don't have anywhere to go, you end up getting mixed up with a lot of people. You end up being in the wrong place at the wrong time a lot. So the police caught her doing that, and they wanted to bring her in for court. And, due to her homelessness, she has had a lot of complications with communications. And so the police told her, you need to stay in the county until we can figure out a court date for you and see when we can see you. But you can't leave. So she's not running. We're just waiting. Yeah. So I know a lot of you guys were just like, wait a minute, she's on the run? No way. So I hope that clears things up a little bit. I'm still going to put the link in the description if you want to go help her. It would mean a lot. So on to the story. And during the story, while I'm telling you, we're going to be taking breaks to explain science and advice and all those things. So yeah, great. Oh, and if anyone cared, I'm a Gemini, if anyone cared. If that makes any sense to you. Yeah. With the Scorpio moon, yeah. If that holds your interests at all. I know a lot of people don't believe it, which I get. It's just interesting and entertaining to me. Anyways. So I guess we're going to get started on, oh, yeah, I guess we're just gonna get started on, where things began. And I really don't believe that I had a fair chance in life. I really don't feel like I came from a good home. Both of my parents really cared, which I'm lucky enough to have. But the family is so broken that I don't have any type of stability in my life. My parents did not have healthy relationships. Yeah. And so I guess that made me struggle, but it's kind of not my fault. I haven't had the most stable relationships. I feel like I have, but sometimes things happen. But yeah, I've managed to break that generational curse, and I have had the same friends and really good friends for a long time and probably my whole life. So yeah, I guess right now how I'm feeling is just broken and sad and devastated. I am lost. I feel humiliated because I see a lot of other people my age and they're doing so much better and they're out on their own, and I still live with my parents. And they have degrees and they are so successful and they make so much money, and I don't. I feel like a failure. And even though it's kind of not my fault, I keep trying. I keep trying to be like them, but something stands in the way. It always gets messed up, no matter how hard I work. And I worked so hard to the point where I couldn't get out of bed. And even then, my employers like yelled at me, but yeah. It's kind of cruel. Yeah, anyways. And the best years of my life have been ruined. I did have good times. It wasn't all darkness, but I really do believe that it could have been better and that I deserve better, and I just wanted to be like these other people. I know they still have their struggles, but you know, their situation was probably a little better. I should have had my degree by now, honestly. This is awful. So I just feel defeated. I feel like I'm moving my feet through 3 feet of mud. I feel like I'm just like digging a hole with a spoon. And it's getting really repetitive and really boring, and I'm getting really tired of it. I'm getting tired. Yeah, like really tired. So I think, you know, maybe if we talk about what we've been through, let people know that I'm here, I care. There's someone else going through this. Yeah, maybe if I keep talking and opening up, maybe I can make a little money from my videos and get myself out of this situation. Every day I feel like I want to cry. I'm so hurt and angry and sad that I just want to punch things. I want to cry at work. It's really hard for me to keep it together. I do have a job, but it's just not enough. And I guess I won't be talking about the whole story. I'll just be talking about parts in different videos, just so I don't like make this too long and I don't overwhelm myself, and I can spend some time thinking about what to say next and making sure I can explain this in a way that's understandable. It's really difficult for me to talk about. So we're gonna get started at the beginning, and this is when I was just a little girl in elementary school. Some of the things that I really liked about elementary school was my friends that I had. And this is something that makes me believe that I'm a really good person, and it's something that I'm really proud about. And I'm not trying to like sit here and brag about how great I am. I'm trying to build trust and tell you a bit of stories to let you get to know me. So growing up in elementary school, my closest friends were, you know, one year I had a Hispanic best friend, and then the other years I've had 2 black friends, and you know, at the time, at that age, I had no idea what any of those things were, like racism, and um, I just liked them for who they are, and they liked playing with me, and we just hung out and had a great time. And I never looked at them as different. I just was like, okay, well, sometimes there's black cats and sometimes there's white cats, but they're still cats. So that's kind of heartwarming to think about. So yeah, this all happened. It all started in elementary school. Now, growing up, I was actually getting taken care of very well. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she loved me a lot, and my sisters and my brother. She really did her best, and my dad made enough money that she could stay at home and take care of us and teach us painting and cook for us. And she would always tell me that I'm never going to feed you things from a can. It always has to be fresh. I would never feed you any of that instant stuff. So I mean, that's why I look so good right now, is because, you know, I'm a pretty athletic person. Um, yeah, I'm a pretty skinny person. And we had two living rooms and a pet dog and a swimming pool and a huge backyard with a play set. And then when my half siblings weren't living with us and they would go to their other side of the family, I would have my own room, and it was like princess everything. And yeah, they definitely cared a lot. So, but although both of my parents actually cared about us a lot, they ended up fighting a lot, and they couldn't get their relationship to work out. And I would hear them yelling in the other room, and it was really, like, at that age, I wasn't fully aware of it. I just thought that sometimes people fight and then they forgive and forget and they move on. But it just ended up spiraling out of control, and they couldn't have a relationship with each other anymore. Um, I'm still not too sure about what really happened. My mom would tell me one thing, my dad would tell me another. And my dad offered to let me read the court transcripts that they had, but it's just so overwhelming for me, and I got so tired of it that I just really don't care about reading it anymore. So it was like at the end of elementary school when I was about to go to middle school. That's what we have here. I don't know where you're from or what they do there, but that's how it was here. So, they ended up going through divorce, and it they were fighting over custody of me and my sister for a long time, like years. It was years of court coming back and going back and forth for years. And they kept butting heads and they kept trying. They were just fighting over us the whole time, and they just expected us to go from one house to another, even though I was so tired of it. I'm pretty sure my sister was tired of it. Sometimes we would have to, like, walk because my parents didn't want to see each other. And so they're like, okay, walk over to your dad to this location and walk over to your mom to this location. And I didn't want to do this. I wanted to spend my weekend with my friends in town. And I didn't want to spend all of my weekends walking to my parents' house and carrying all my stuff. And it was just awful. I, I don't know why they didn't think about this, but it's always about my relationship with my kids, and I want to make sure they know I care, but I care more. No, I care more. Um, but it really affected my life and my grades and my behavior too, because at a young age I was sometimes I would act out, and I'm not really proud of it. I'm really embarrassed. But I didn't know how to deal with it. And my parents tried making us go to therapy, but I'm just like, I don't want to do this. I don't need this. Because it made me feel like, therapy is for crazy people with problems, and I'm just a normal kid. I just want to chill at home and play video games, and I don't want to deal with this. So after a while, I started getting depressed at a pretty early age. For a while, my mom got sole custody of me and my sister, and she was relying on child support. And eventually, my dad had to resign from his job because he didn't want his superiors knowing about the whole custody battles, and there was so much drama that he decided to leave and not get involved with the mess. But I don't know how my mom was expecting to collect support when my dad didn't have a good job anymore. Um, you know, it could be worse. I know this is probably not the worst thing in the world, but, it still stresses me out. It's still bad for me. I feel kind of entitled, like, I don't know. I feel like, oh, people are thinking, oh, it's not that bad. But for me at the time, it was pretty bad. I did get depressed from it, and I just didn't want to deal with it. It was exhausting, really. And at least I was fortunate enough to have parents that actually cared so much to actually be fighting over us. Because I know some parents just don't care at all. But they did. And I'm lucky. Um, so yeah, I got kind of depressed at an early age, which was like kind of weird for the other kids because it's like you're so young. Why are you depressed? Nothing has happened to you, and but yeah, all the stress, yeah. So I think that made the other kids think that maybe I was crazy or that there was something wrong with me. In reality, I was just tired. So yeah, my mom was expecting child support to keep coming in, but my dad couldn't afford it anymore, and he had to deal with the legal matters in a different way, and he had to go live with his family for support, and things really just went downhill. Um, yeah, I guess this is like a good reminder to always love your partner and stop fighting with them and try your best to make it a good run because things could get really bad really quickly. Stop worrying about always being right. I don't know. I hope to God that if I ever get married one day that I never have to deal with this. I hope that I marry a person safe enough to be around and that they don't constantly want to fight me. I don't want to fight with you. I don't think I could handle it. That's the thing that worries me the most about life is that if you get married, I don't want to fight. It's really traumatic. So, all the stress from the custody battles and the divorce, that made my mom get really sick. And it's true, stress can make you get really sick, and I can feel it happening to me too with all of these other things in my life. Because this is not the worst thing that happened. Believe it or not, this is just where it started. There have been so many worse things. Um, yeah. Yeah, and I can feel the stress is really getting to me, and I've had like migraines before so bad to the point where I would throw up. So, getting sick from stress is definitely a real thing, and gosh, I just want people to stop fighting so badly because of this. I can't stand to see it. I can't stand seeing people fight. Some people think it's so entertaining and, but I think it's just so awful. I can't look at it. All this screaming and bullying and violence. It really bothers me. I just want to be in a stable enough place that I can just live a good life for a very, very long time. And I haven't been able to have that. For a while I did. When I was living with my dad in high school, it was pretty stable for the most part. Although, we'll get to that story later, but yeah, I did have a lot of bullies, so it still wasn't super stable. I've never seen, like, gosh, okay, anyways, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that, hold on, I gotta think. Yeah, okay, so yeah, all the other kids, when I was growing up in middle school, um, they probably thought there was something wrong with me or that I was crazy, and I guess that they were spreading rumors to each other. Because I just felt sad. Yeah, my parents got divorced, I got depressed, and kids were talking behind my back about me, saying that I was crazy, how is it possible that she's depressed, and none of us are depressed, so why are you? There's something wrong with you. And you know how kids are. Yeah. Ugh. Ugh. So, this is where it starts to get worse. And, keep in mind, it wasn't bad the whole time. I did have some really good moments. It wasn't horrible and dark the whole time, but, I don't know how I dealt with being depressed. I just felt it. This was too early in my life to know how to deal with this in a proper way. So that kind of ties into the next thing that happened, and this is where it becomes even worse. And I guess I want to like split it up. I think I might like end it here because this one is another part of, yeah, whatever. So yeah, I guess this is part one, and then next video I'll make a part two about where it starts getting significantly worse and where things have gone downhill and has not gotten better since. Yeah. Well, it did get better, actually. Okay, yeah, we'll get into that later. But thank you so much for listening. I know it's kind of long, but yeah, if you want to sit through it, thank you. I really appreciate it. You guys have been amazing to me. You guys have been super loving and really supportive. And even if you don't remember why you're subbed to my channel, because I know a lot of people say that, because it's been so long and I don't post anything, thank you for sticking around. It's been a long time, really, and thank you for being so kind to me, too, when I was being vulnerable, and I was trying to talk about my feelings, you guys were actually like not being such edgy memers. You guys like kind of like come back to normal, and you guys were being very, very empathetic, and I really appreciate that. Thank you. So, I guess we'll talk later.